So welcome back, guys, to another video. And E3 2019 has came and gone. A lot of great games announced, a lot of great surprises, but one of the biggest surprises at this conference, in my opinion, was Konami coming out of nowhere saying, hey, we're going to make a TurboGrafx 16 Mini. And this mini console phenomenon, we've seen it with Nintendo, the Sony, the Sega, to the SNK, the Capcom, but to see Konami coming out of nowhere with a TurboGrafx 16, it just blew my mind. Now, they've already confirmed 6 games that are going to be on the TurboGrafx 16 Mini in the West and also the PC Engine in Japan. But today, I wanted to talk about 10 games I would love to see on the TurboGrafx 16. Now, number 10 is a pipe dream. I feel like if they put this game out on the mini console, I think folks would just absolutely lose their mind. Especially folks that have been on the fence with Konami for the past couple of years, because this is one of the finest works from Kojima, and I'm talking about Snatcher PC Romantic. Now, what this is Snatcher, if you're not familiar, it's a sci-fi crime drama point-and-click graphic novel kind of adventure with some light gun action where you're trying to find the whereabouts of these mutant robots taking the form of humans. It's a really interesting game, and I know a lot of folks have heard about it on the Sega CD, but the TurboGrafx 16 version, or PC Engine version I should say, is completely uncensored. This is the true vision and true works of Kojima, and I feel like if they really put this game and they just translated it and put it on the TurboGrafx 16 Mini, folks would just be throwing their money at it. It's a pipe dream. I really don't think they're going to put something that has, corpses with maggots, crawling out, naked women in strip clubs. I don't think they're going to put that on a mini console, but hey, a guy can dream, right? Now, number 9 is a little humble action platformer with Jackie Chan Action Kung Fu. This is just a really fun game. I feel like overall it's just a blast to play. I could see this being on the TurboGrafx 16 Mini, and a lot of folks having fun with it. I used to play it a lot at the arcades, and once I found out they had a port on the TurboGrafx 16, I had to check it out and absolutely fell in love with it. I love the animation and the controls, and I'm just a big fan of Jackie Chan. I love that stuff. So yeah, that would be a great game. And of course, number 8, you can't have a TurboGrafx 16 collection without Splatterhouse. Now, Splatterhouse has already been on a couple of compilations, especially the Namco compilations recently. You can play all these Splatterhouse games. You could even unlock it in the Xbox 360 version, the reboot of Splatterhouse. But I feel like this game is just a staple of TurboGrafx 16, and whenever you mention a console, someone's always going to mention Splatterhouse. And what an interesting game with a very haunting soundtrack. You're playing as like this Jason Voorhees kind of character with baseball bats and just gore and macabre imagery. It's a really awesome game, and it needs to be on the mini console. Number 7 has to be on the TurboGrafx 16 Mini. Even though it's not a good game, but it was a packing game for the TurboGrafx 16. I'm talking about Keith Courage and Alpha Zones. This has almost become a joke for TurboGrafx 16 fans because the game is not really that great, but for some reason it has so much charm that I feel like if this wasn't in the compilation, someone would be salty about it. I think someone would be kind of salty about it. It's kind of clunky. It's got a really cool mech. It's not memorable other than just the fact that it just wasn't that good of a game, and it was a packing game. And, whenever you're buying a TurboGrafx 16, it's going to have Keith Courage with it. That's just the way it is. Number 6 is one of my favorite games of all time. I absolutely love it on the Sega Master System. I love the remake that came out a couple years back, but I'm talking about Dragon's Curse. Now, what this is a port of Wonder Boy and the Dragon's Trap, but this is a little bit different. And to be honest, I felt like the TurboGrafx 16 is probably still one of my favorite versions. I have the love and the appreciation for the Sega Master System version, and I absolutely love the remake, but there's just this kind of magic with the TurboGrafx 16 version. I felt like it was just the soundtrack was a lot better. It just played a lot better. I was a big fan of it, and I would love to see this on the TurboGrafx 16. Now, number 5, the soundtrack alone just needs to be on the TurboGrafx 16 because it's got one of my favorite songs in video game history. And when it was in arcade, it had a 3-panel widescreen monitor, and I'm talking about Ninja Warrior. I would love to see Ninja Warrior on the TurboGrafx 16 Mini. It got downgraded on this console, but it's still a lot of fun. It's kind of slow, but it's oddly addicting. I don't know what it is. I think it's just the music. Daddy Mulk. Freaking awesome, and just playing as this cyborg ninja, throwing ninja stars at thugs, and yeah, it needs to be on the mini console. It's like the epitome of 90s gaming. Now, what would be a TurboGrafx 16 collection without shoot 'em ups? I mean, this is kind of what the console's known for. It had so many great shooter games, and this one right here I feel like is a staple to the TurboGrafx 16, and that is Blazing Lasers. I feel like whenever you talk about the TurboGrafx 16, this shooter is always going to be mentioned because it's really, really good. It's a lot of fun, and sure, there's some more shooters that I enjoy more on the TurboGrafx 16, but I think for newcomers, this is definitely a game they have to check out and play. Now, this one's going to be pretty interesting because the TurboGrafx 16 only has one controller port, and my number 3 is actually a co-op game, but I would still love to see on the TurboGrafx 16 Mini anyway because it would be great for it to come to the West and have more folks be introduced and playing it, and that is Double Dragon 2: The Revenge. Now, this plays a lot like the NES version. It looks better, obviously, but it kind of dives a little bit more into the story, and it's also got these really cool cutscenes, these like anime style Double Dragon cutscenes. And for Double Dragon fans who haven't had a chance to play this, I think you guys would really enjoy it, and it would just be great if this mini brought that over here. That would just be freaking awesome. Now, number 2 and number 1 are going to be shooters. I mean, the TurboGrafx 16 is really the staple for any fan who loves these shooters and shoot 'em ups, shmups, whatever you want to call them. But number 2, Dragon Saint. Dragon Saint is just such an interesting shooter. You're not playing as like a spaceship, you're playing as this like mech kind of dragon, and it's a lot of fun. I really love the soundtrack to it. It's just a very unique shooter. It's hard, but it's a lot of fun. I really do enjoy that, and I think it would be great on the TurboGrafx 16 Mini. And my number 1, because we're already getting Bonk's Adventure, it's been confirmed on the TurboGrafx 16 Mini, but what about his great grandson, Zonk? Air Zonk. Air Zonk's one of my favorite games on the TurboGrafx 16. It's a cute 'em up or cuter shooter. It's a cutesy shooter, but it's so much fun. The graphics are so colorful. The soundtrack is just amazing, and I just love the sense of humor this game has. I mean, this is one of my comfort games. This is one of those games that I would sit back, if I'm not in the best of mood, I just play some Air Zonk and everything is just gone. I just forget everything because of this game, and I would love to see it on the TurboGrafx 16 Mini. And the crazy thing is, this game is a very expensive game to own if you want to have a physical copy of it. So what's great is this TurboGrafx 16 Mini will give folks a chance to enjoy some of these games without burning a hole in your wallet. And that's what I really like about this mini console. But anyway, guys, that is 10 games I would love to see on the TurboGrafx 16. This is where I want you guys to come in and leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your top 10. I'd love to talk about the TurboGrafx 16. Is this something that you're getting day one? Let's talk about it. Anyway, guys, as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And as always, happy gaming.